I just want to, oh, okay. We've just started the recording. Got it. So good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us in your product development workshop for today. I want to start off by acknowledging the land on which we run this workshop. For the Larrakia people, I pay my respects to those past, present, and emerging. For those that don't know me, my name is Gabrielle. You can all call me Gabs from Gift at the Gab Consulting. The reason why I'm running the workshop today is because I've got 17 years plus experience in this space, especially in the tourism space. I've been a buyer, a seller. I've worked, which most of you know me from working at Tourism and TEP for just shy of 7 years, where I helped develop for meals which relate to the business event space. I also did the industry development team in the product development space, and I work with a lot of businesses in product development as well with Gift of the Gab. Very fortunate to have Gemma here from TT sitting next to me. You might see her hand right now. Gemma's going to be monitoring the chat function, so if you do have any questions throughout the workshop, please send through your messages and she'll read them out. So you might just hear her shouting out to me throughout the session. And then we've also got Rosie to the side of me from Northern Territory Business Events, otherwise known as NTBE, because we really do love our acronyms. Rosie, did you just want to tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I am the projects and industry events executive. I basically manage all the operations for the team, our attendance at trade shows, and also organise meal trips across the Northern Territory.
Amazing. Thanks, Rosie. So really excited to have everybody online today, and we've got a couple of people in the room. So if you do hear me reaching out to those in the room, I'll be asking questions throughout the session as well. But before we get started, I thought I would lead in with a quick disclaimer. When it comes to product development, and the reason why I have the symbol of the scissors on the screen at the moment is because product development is really a tailored approach. When you're developing your product, it's really your sensitive information. This is your intellectual property. So from today, for those who have put forward saying you want to take away a product out of today's workshop, what we're going to do is teach you the theory towards getting to that product. So great news is, so what we're looking at today is, as part of the theory, is what the market is looking for. So before you can develop that product, you really need to have a look at what attracts the client. Welcome, guys. No, come on in. That's okay. We've just got a few more people joining us in the room. What the client is looking for, and also if you can deliver this product. So the big key takeaway, because I like for all these sessions for there to be a big key takeaway, and the big key takeaway for today is we want to understand and for you guys to take away if business events is for you. So just across the board here, we've got people online and in the room who are from all walks of life within the tourism space. We've got venues online, we've got tours and experiences, we've got photographers, so all those that make up a business event. So really, really hoping for those that are a little bit more advanced, that you guys do have some light bulb moments. Come on in, sit them down, you're right. That you take away some light bulb moments. For those who are sitting on the edge, not knowing whether or not business events is the right space for you, hopefully today will bring you that clarity as to if it is right for you or not. And then for those who are in the middle, the great news is, if you are looking to explore that product development space, we're offering 8 one-on-one sessions. It is done by expression of interest. 8 one-on-one sessions to sit down with myself to help you develop that product a little bit further, because today we're talking about the theory and the processes to get there, and then the one-on-one sessions we can sit down and fully formalize that product development. So what we're going to cover today is a quick recap on the Introduction to Business Events workshop, which was run last month. I know quite a few of you who are online and in the room actually missed that session, so we'll do that quick recap. Then we'll look at what attracts a client to business events. We'll go through a bit of a business events checklist. So don't worry, we're not going to go through the whole checklist because I'm going to send that information around to you after the workshop today. And then if you decide from there that business events is that right space for you to play in, then we'll look at the processes to develop that product. So really quickly, now that I've got people in the room and people online, I'd really like to know what you want to take away from this workshop today. I know I've got a few questions that were handed in earlier, but if you could submit some takeaways that you want to see from this workshop and pop that into the chat now, that would be great. So Gemma can have a look, but I'll hand to the floor in the room first. Is there anything in particular that anybody in the room here wants to take away from this workshop today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
Gary,
just like to know how I could go about getting a direct booking from a business event.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so when we're looking at the direct booking side of things, you're essentially looking at connecting in with the business events team. But to work with the business events team to get those direct bookings, you need to have that formalized product with them first. So we're going to run another workshop down the track about marketing and distributing your product for business events. But really the key there is networking and having your product linked in. So before you can do that though, you need to make sure that your product is right and viable for the business event space. Hence why you're here today. So yeah, we'll go into that theory first and foremost, and then down the track, we'll run the next workshop where you really get to connect in with that space. Oh, anybody else in the room? You want to take away? No, okay. I've lost Gemma. She's back.
She's testing this
out. Yeah.
What sort of product, that's something I'd like to know, what sort of products the business event would be suitable for business events.
Yeah,
So we
perfect.
can tailor those things.
Awesome. And you guys, I dare say, are in a really good space to have a product that's tailored for business events. And we're definitely going to go through what, and that's where it's identifying where the gaps are in the market, which is what we're going to do a little bit today by looking at what the client's looking for and also where the territory is positioned in this space. So brilliant question. And you guys are in a really great position for that.
Oh, we just got a question from Louise Denton.
Yes, Louise.
They want to know about trends in what business event clients are looking for.
Perfect. So that's definitely going to come up in this workshop today as well. So Louise asked for trends in the business event space. Anything else on that? Cool. All right, we'll get stuck into it. So best way to do a recap on the introduction to business events is to do the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how. So for those who missed the last workshop, the who within the business event space is, it's like an onion. It's made of multiple layers, but if we break it down into 3 categories, the first category is the industry suppliers. So unless we have venues, tours, transport, access, a destination, then we can't play in the business event space. So you guys essentially make up that first stepping stone of the business events world. Next is the decision makers. So that could be someone who works internally for a corporation or works for a professional conference organization, which source out the destination that they want to host an event and essentially implement that event in that destination. And then the last space, which is where Rosie plays in with the government at NTB, these guys work on helping us remain competitive and secure that business event, which I'll touch on a bit more in a second. This is the exact definition of what a business event is. I got it from the Australian Bureau of Business Events Association, so don't worry, I'm not going to read it all out, but basically it's a gathering of gathering for a business purpose, and this could include conferences, conventions, symposiums, congress, group events, marketing events, celebrations, seminars, courses, etc. So there's a whole world in there, and I'll pass that around when we send out the documentation at the end of today. So we've got the who, the what, the when. So great news is business events can run all year round. So it's not generally affected by seasonality or school holidays like the leisure market is, but of course it is still taken into consideration, but not as major as leisure tourism. Where? So in the Northern Territory, really business events focuses on Darwin, Alice Springs and Uluru as the major access points to the destination. We still do have business events that go down to Katherine, Kakadu, Arnhem Land, Tiwi Islands. You'll find there'll be your group sizes that are a little bit smaller, maybe your 10 to 50 sizes, and also targets that incentive market a little bit more. Why? Why do we focus on business events? So business events, in accordance with the 2030 goal within tourism, will ideally hit $68 million in expenditure by 2030. We're on track. We're at 49 million at the moment. So the team is just going to go hard and grow and grow and grow from there. And how are they doing this? NTB works really hard keeping the Northern Territory front of mind. They represent at trade shows, both domestic and internationally. They have a competitive edge, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in their bid funding. And then, of course, they showcase our amazing destination. Once again, we can't showcase this destination unless we have the products, which is why we're all here today. So it's great that a lot of the questions have been about what are the clients looking for, what attracts a business event customer to the territory. So the top 3 things across the board for Australia as to what a client is looking for is a quality program. So I know not everybody online or in the room is going to be the developer of that itinerary or that program, but you will have input there into what that program looks like when you connect with the various partners that hold business events. The ability to extend is so integral. This is your pre and post touring for a business event. The reason why this is important to these clients is because it helps attract more of the delegates to attend that business event. So if you find in the overall encompassing business event sphere that you may not be able to cater to the business event space, you could come in with the pre and post touring, which we're going to be running a workshop on pre and post touring next month. And of course, a desirable destination, which I'm going to touch on a little bit more in 2 seconds. So in a big picture, this is what it looks like when a client is looking to work with someone in the business events sphere. So essentially we look at infrastructure. So that's your venues, your conferences, your catering, accommodation, what's that all look like? And then also looking at that authentic local experience. So what the actual fun side of the experience is going to be. So we're going to break that down. So when a client, and I know this isn't going to relate to every single business, some of these touch points will, some of these touch points won't. So hopefully you can still find the aha moments in each touch point. So access and location, of course, is integral. Once again, unless delegates can get here, chances are they won't be running their business event in the destination. So you need to make sure that you've got access via transport. If it's not in walking distance, we need to make sure we've got air access. You need to make sure that you're centrally located. And if you're not in an accessible location, what is it? What's in your unique selling point that you can put out there that can ensure that you still get that business in the business event space? Availability and capacity is pretty integral. In the circumstance that you may not have availability, and I guess I talk to accommodation providers in this space or tours and experiences, can you collaborate with other businesses to ensure that you can share where the groups go, half stay at one hotel, half stay at the other hotel, as an example. When you're looking at capacity for a venue, do you have private function spaces or a place where guests can have their private function space, but also for pre and post networking? Really important across the board is flexibility and customization. So when I'm bringing these things up, hopefully everybody online and in the room is thinking about your products and how flexible you can be when a client comes to you and asks for a difference in timing or a difference in layout, as an example. And when it comes to customization, is there something you can do to make sure that that client feels special? If you've got a tour bus, can you put a sign up in the bus saying, welcome business event XYZ? With facilities and networking spaces, it's making sure, especially that your technology is good and up to date. Do you have comfortable seating? I think aircon is pretty integral in the Northern Territory across the board. And then in the networking sphere, it is pretty important that there are spaces that you can put forward to that client, because they could be looking for small rooms, larger rooms, a breakout space. So all of it ties in together with being flexible once again. Technology, pretty self-explanatory. Catering, so if you're a tour or even if you're a catering service, making sure that you can cater to a variety of needs. If you can you work with locals in the destination? Because local support is pretty big in this space. Can you showcase, like there's a lot of distilleries on the rise in the Northern Territory. Can you showcase a local gin and work with that as part of your experience? Sorry, we've just got some fun noise going on outside that I don't know if you can hear online, but that makes it entertaining. This area here, professional service, I do just want to have what I call real chat about for 2 seconds. Professional service is really integral to the business event space. Generally, the team works with experiences that are in a 4 to 5 star space. So professional service starts from the moment that you take a phone call or an inquiry by email. Think about it in your world. Are you getting back when you have that inquiry come through? Can you get back to that inquiry within 48 hours? That's all part of a professional service. What are your staff presenting when they're representing your company? Because the hardest thing is when it comes to a professional service, and hopefully everybody on this call is going, nah, Gabs, we don't need to talk about this because we totally hit professional service. We're all over it. But in the stance that, there's a disconnect, this can have a real domino effect, because if it comes back to a professional conference organizer, that could leave a bad taste in their mouth, which means the domino effect is that professional conference organizer doesn't want to bring that back to the territory. So this ripple effect could be detrimental and cost the territory hundreds of thousands of dollars. So as much as we don't feel like it at times, we all are one big family here in the territory. I'm massive for collaborations and support, and coming in that professional service space really helps elevate not just yourself, but the whole destination. It's really important. And if you want to know more about how you can figure out where you fit in this professional service space, if you haven't renewed your quality tourism framework accreditation, or you haven't done it, please make sure you get on top of that. Part of your QTF, we like to call it, is a system called Review Pro. Review Pro basically grabs all resources online, from your TripAdvisor to your Google My Business responses to all that, anything online, grabs those reviews and can tell you where you're lying in that customer service field. So it's just a centralized spot. You should be looking at this in your business regardless anyway. It's a really great resource to figure out what you can do to enhance and elevate areas where there may be gaps in your business, and should essentially equate to more customers coming your way. So make sure on that. So sorry to harp on, but it is really important. For those that are thinking, well, we actually don't really operate in that 4 to 5 star space, value for money is still really integral, especially when you're looking at meetings. So in the meetings area, they may be looking at a venue that only hosts, say, 30 people, but as long as you have some good technology, affordable rooms, you can definitely approach the NTBE team to see how you can work in with this side of business events. And I think the really cool stuff is more business events these days are looking at getting into sustainable programs. So they want to support local. They want to work with give back programs. And a few other really integral things is, and my favorite things is fun and entertainment, unique experiences, and destination appeal. Across all three of these, it's really important for business events because this really helps increase attendance to come to a destination for that event. It helps boost morale, it strengthens relationships, and this is something that the Territory does in abundance. We are a fun destination, we are so unique, and we should be super attractive across the board. And this is what our friends at NTB really do in showcasing the destination. So NTB, when they meet at trade shows and they put the Northern Territory forward, the three top things that they're doing is showcasing our enriching Aboriginal culture, our iconic landscapes, and our nature-based experiences. Now, it's not limited to, of course, those experiences. We have a plethora of other wonderful experiences, but these are the top three that are highlighted. And then the way that they secure, once we've shown our unique selling points, once they secured the business in the destination, the team comes in with something called a bid fund. So what the bid fund is a way that we remain competitive against other destinations. So if someone has come to the NTBE team saying, we want to come to your destination, but we're also looking at, say, Perth or Adelaide, what the team will do as an example is put together an itinerary, and then they may offer, as an example, $100 per delegate to secure that business coming to the Territory. So this is what the team does once we've hooked them in with our unique selling points. They get them across the line with this bidding document. Now, occasionally business events will come direct to your businesses. If they're sitting on the fence, and this can happen a lot, it's a really good idea to get them in contact with the NTBE team to make sure that they can come back in, put this bid fund ahead, and ensure that we secure the business event over our competitors. And the guys have done really well. Last year, they secured 77 business events, which equated to $49 million in delegate expenditure. So it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So this ideally has given you so far a good understanding overall and overarching of what a client is looking for. If you feel that your business isn't part of the itinerary space, but you want to get together with some other businesses and see how you guys can all work together, then we're looking at running a workshop, a speed dating style workshop, ideally where we can get like-minded people in the room. For those that are a little bit further away, we're going to try and figure out a way that we can incorporate you in that workshop too. So I'd really love if you could all pull out your phones and scan this QR code on the screen here right now. I'm monitoring it on my computer. It's basically just going to ask if you want to attend this collaboration of speed dating to see if this is a viable option for us to run a workshop of bringing like-minded people together and running a workshop such as this. So fingers crossed it's all coming up for you. Is it coming up? Perfect. Awesome. I'm going to refresh. And I'll just see what the answers are coming in. Sorry, guys. Here I am talking about good tech and my tech is going really slow. Do as I say, not as I do. Half of my... Awesome. You're letting you load.
Just type in slido.com.
I don't know anyone here. I have a saying about technology and it's kind of pessimistic.
Perfect.
I want to come across as a pessimistic guy.
No, that's okay.
I'm actually quite positive. My saying is, you can rely on technology, it'll always let you down.
Yeah, that's so.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it's always a fun one, isn't it?
No, right, Gemma.
Yeah.
So across the board, it's looking like from 9 responses so far that 100% are really keen to do a collaboration. So that's really great to hear. So ideally down the track, we'll look at running a, which 9 is a decent chunk of people online. So ideally we'll run a speed dating workshop where we can bring like-minded businesses together. Maybe it's venues that stay seated and then we'll have your experiences that move around to see how you could work in with each other and share how you can both benefit from each other. So ideally, you'll all take away some tangible things. Gemma, have you got a chat there going on?
We've just got a speed dating never goes well for me comment.
Okay. Apparently we've got a speed dating never goes well for me comment. I can take 2 guesses as who it's that from. Perfect. So great to hear. So stay tuned for when we look at running a speed dating workshop. Now, a little bit into the nitty-gritty side of things, and this is looking at a checklist. So we've looked at what a client is looking for, and I know for some of you, you might be looking a little bit more into what that nitty-gritty of what the clients are looking for. Once again, that'll be a pretty tailored approach. So make sure you reach out, and I'll give you the details to reach out at the end to see if we can do that one-on-one. But before you do that, we also need to figure out if your business is right for business events. So I will be sending out these checklists. This one to start off with when you look at a venue to see if your venue is right for a business event. First things first, what do your floor plans look like? Do you have some templates that you can send out so your conference organisers can see those floor plans? What does your catering look like? Can you package with other outside companies to cater at your venue? Are you in a good location? Can you host spaces for pre or post functioning? So I won't go through the whole list because it's really detrimental that you sit down and you go through this list in your own time, tick all the boxes, but maybe also question things. So if there's something that, okay, maybe you haven't ticked, that's quite clearly a gap that you would need to work on before we start looking at really developing that product. Also looking at that in the accommodation space, a few key points that differs from the rest is, can you put allotments forward when it comes to business events? Can those rooms be booked up to 12 months out? Can you work and package with a transfer company? Is your venue or your accommodation easily accessible by transport? So these are a few key things for those accommodation providers to keep front of mind. With tours and experiences, if you're trying to get in with the business events, how many people can you hold on your tour or experience? If you're approached and you can't take as many delegates as the group is looking for, can you collaborate with other businesses and come together with a like-minded experience to work together? I'm going to bring up a little bit down the track an experience that Rosie and I collaborated on because capacity was an issue and yeah, it was a pretty successful experience. So can you collaborate with other businesses? And then I have put a fair few because I know we've got such a variety of people online today and in the room. Sorry to just put you in the other category, but I know with the transfers, photographers, entertainers, catering, some really big things are, can you bring your product to that business event? Is your rate attractive? That's always really important because you still need to remain somewhat competitive when it comes to your rates. So I'll be sharing this once again for the various different categories, a checklist to identify where your gaps are to help you see if business events is the right space for you. And you don't need to write this down now, but it's also pretty integral when you're developing that product for the business event space. And this is Gary coming back to your point about how you get in with the business events. Make sure you have your 3 unique selling points at a minimum as to what separates you from the rest, where you can connect in with the business events team so they can put you forward. So when you're developing your checklist, this is a must that you must have your 3 unique selling points in the business event sphere that you can put forward. So if you had a little look through those checklists and you've seen what the clients are looking for and you're a bit concerned at this stage that business events may not be the sphere that you can work in, please definitely join Gemma and myself next month when we run a pre and post touring workshop for business events. Once again, this is such a key part of attracting a business event to the destination as it increases attendance because a lot of the delegates will want to stay for a little bit longer. So stay tuned on when we're going to run that workshop. And this is a bit more of the nitty-gritty side, and this is how to develop your product. So I would like to think most of you do have experience in this realm of developing a product. You've probably done that for your experiences so far. May not be new information, but it's definitely a good refresher. So the first part of this workshop, we looked at what the clients are looking for. The checklist will help you identify where your product fits in. You know, have a look at that checklist, have a look at the gaps, see what you would need to do to elevate to become a business event product. So do that market research. And guys, there's heaps of market research out there if you're looking for more. I'm going to hand around a document when we send off the emails that shows you what associate behavior looks like. But you can always jump on nt.com, have a look at their research and data and see what the sentiment is being attracted to the destination. For anyone who went to the 2030 conference last week, you would have heard or seen some of the common goals that's coming through within the tourism sphere. And what's also attracting in the international market space, I was really surprised to see that Sweden is on the rise in traveling to the destination. So there's heaps of data and research out there. Do make sure you're doing the research first. Next, when it comes to developing your product, there's nothing better than brainstorming. So getting down, writing that little mind map, putting things out there. You're probably chatting amongst your teams already. Brainstorming is so integral. When you're doing that, make sure you're relating it back, going, what can I do to offer and elevate to a business event space? And what are your goals from this as well? Then you get into the nitty-gritty side, the resource and planning. You know, what do you need to do to deliver? So now you're starting to formulate this product. Do I need to hire more staff? Do I need to upgrade my tech? What does marketing look like? Looking into your budgets. And then, of course, making sure you go through a risk management plan. It's probably pretty important, once again, to see if you can really work in this business event sphere. And a lot of that can come down to something as simple as doing a SWOT analysis. Everybody should really be doing, and I know it's easier said than done, but you should be doing a SWOT analysis at least twice a year, just to see where growth can come in for your business. I will also be sharing around a link to a template for a SWOT analysis as run by the federal government after this workshop today too. So some good resources there to help figure out where you fit in this space. I know this one looks a little bit convoluted, but once you've done all your resourcing and planning, this is where your costing comes in. So in a business event sphere, we don't really work in the realm of commission. What you would do is you'd work out what your fixed costs are, your variables, and there's a good chance that your variables are going to change from event to event, because flexibility is really key in the business event space. Make sure you know what you want to pay yourself, and then that will help you formulate what your product is. If you do want some guidance, and I'm going to share these around as well, you can jump onto nt.com and check out their industry toolkits under distribution, and there are some sample rate sheets and also some guidance on how to price your product. Just bearing in mind that these are for leisure experiences, but you can tailor it towards business events as well. When your product is there and ready to go, do a trial run, invite the team along. So speaking to that space again, like how do I attract business events to my products? Get the team in and experience it firsthand. Make sure that they can let you know from their area and expertise what has worked, what hasn't worked, and really take that feedback on board. There's nothing more valuable than that feedback to help you elevate your product for this space. And then once that's all done and coming together, this is where you can start working on your branding and proposal side of things. So your proposal, when you do put it forward, should be have your branding on it. And ideally, if you can, just to make it personalized, if you can put the client's branding on it too, or their name in there some way, that really makes you look so much more professional. Make sure it is competitive. So if you can, keep an eye on the market and see what competition is doing. That's also really important to make sure that you can win that business. My advice is, in the first instance, if you can, is to put final pricing opposed to itemized pricing. However, quite a few businesses will ask you for itemized pricing. Ideally, you want to gauge how that goes. If you can get a deposit first, I would try and get that deposit first. And I would keep everything as much as you can high level. What that means is if you are putting together an itinerary and you're working with, you're collaborating with other businesses, is maybe, as an example, say wildlife encounter with a crocodile, opposed to listing, I think we've got spec jumping crocs online, opposed to listing a particular tour. Because what can happen in that regards is some conference organisers don't want to pay you your fee for putting this stuff together, and they'll go direct to that business, and then essentially all your hard work will be taken away. So as much as you can, high level, but then bearing in mind you'll still work with some people that want it itemized. But flexibility is still so key. This is a little bit of a funnel that I've taken from Tourism Australia's business events website, just to show you how the decision-making process can go, because you can come in with your initial proposal, the numbers might change, and dates may change, and things may change, and then you need approvals, and things will go backwards and forwards. So it can take a fair bit of time within this process before we actually have a booking that comes across the line. And then once you've gone through this whole process, that's when you would get into that marketing and distribution stage. So we won't go too much into the marketing and distribution side of things, because we'll be running a full workshop on what that marketing and distribution looks like in May. But if I can leave you with, in this realm, connect with the team at NTBE. Network. They only know what they know. So the more you connect with that team, Rosie and the team at NTBE, the more they get to know and understand what your product can deliver. They're eventually spruiking and marketing for free on your behalf. So if you can work with them, then they will get you in front of the decision makers that gets people to your venue. Network is so integral, and you'll see it'll be a long running theme throughout these workshops. So I am really thrilled to be here with Rosie today. We're having a bit of a full circle moment. Rosie and I met in 2018 when I was still working for Tourism NT, and we developed an experience called the Darwin Amazing Race Experience. We called it DARE for short, because we all love an acronym. We had 50 delegates on this experience, and a lot of the people that we were working with couldn't host the full 50 at the one time. So this is when Rosie was working for a professional conference organizer, and we got to collaborate together. We got to incorporate 12 products across Darwin on this amazing race. So Cove had a mystery box where people had to put hands in a box and pull things out. We worked with the guys down at the water park. We worked with David Leck at the Darwin and History Wartime Experience, using him as transport from A to B. It was a really wonderful experience, and we were absolutely thrilled that this was entered into the Meeting Events Awards, and we won the Event of the Year award, which beat out Prince Harry's opening ceremony to the Invictus Games. And that's what collaboration is all. I think
Nice.
thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Leave with that, that's great.
Yeah. So that's where things can really come together and formulate in a business events world. So I'm thrilled to hand over to Rosie, because that wouldn't have happened without her company's support back in the day, and now what NTBE do in that event space. And she's going to give you some ideas about what it is they look for when they're looking at building for meals and site inspections, bringing decision makers to the destination. So, come on, this way.
Am I coming in?
I don't know.
Went the wrong way.
I don't know where to go.
We know how to use technology.
Hey everyone. So yeah, we're really just looking for products and experiences that appeal to the business events market, whether that's pillow gifts or speaker gifts, chocolates or Indigenous products, and then venues with function spaces or just unique experiences. Whenever we're organising a FMIL, we're always looking at each sort of, there's so many events within the FMIL, and the purpose is to showcase the capacity. So what we're trying to do, we're really trying to elevate the experience. So any ideas you have, please let us know. We're always keen to work with you. We're always trying to make them creative, always, and yeah, just exciting because we're selling the destination. So yeah.
And it's really wonderful. You know, even from development of for meals within the NTB space, you know, products have truly been developed and come together, and collaborations where the team got to talk to two businesses that don't know each other and then ended up working together. And now there's existing products that are used, you know, still to this day. So, yeah, hence why I think that collaborations workshop is going to be, yeah, yes.
When you guys take the delegates out of Darwin, do you want them to stay the night, or do you rather than for the day and then back?
And so what this is just asked when delegates come to town, do they like to go out of town and stay overnight? I think there's a couple things that we need to think about in this sphere is if there's accommodation that can cater for this market. Really within the accommodation space, the business events world truly looks for that 4 to 5 star experience. When I say 4 to 5 star experience, not 4 to 5 star hotel, a 4 to 5 star experience may be glamping, but doesn't have a toilet attached to it. So if we can sell it in that way, it comes down to the individual event and what their timing capacity is like. Because if they don't have time to travel out, or it also depends on what the purpose is. So they may have a conference in town, but then they may want to come out and have a team building exercise or have that local support that's out of town. It's definitely something that's on the radar to have out of town experiences, but you would need to make sure you're coupled up with an accommodation provider to keep them out there.
And how many do you have, like, every year, that the amount of
From the business events world, so last year you guys did 77 business events that came to town, but that's not to say that there hasn't been business events that the team don't know about. It's not to say that there's people who don't go through the business events team and come straight to you guys. And, you know, there's still a realm outside of this, which is still great to think about collaborating with other businesses if you want overnight stays in the realm of, and sorry to detract from business events, but in the realm of, say, your study groups that come out, you know, anything that's outside of that realm. Yeah. But great questions, Tess. I really appreciate it. Awesome.
Yeah, Rosie, do you have an availability for partner, delegate partner tours, offers, when partners have come up and they've got a lot of downtime?
So what do you mean? So to have it?
What I mean is, I've had it before. I've had people contact me. Look, I'm part of a conference. I meant to say,
Yeah.
my partner's here. They want to do a tour. So do you offer that? Do you offer that facility?
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, I think the organisers of the event would make that available for their delegates.
Do they?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then also to tie it back in, if there is pre and post, there's a relationship with NTB and Tourism Top End where your product can be seen by delegates in that way as well. And
Fair enough.
yeah, but definitely, and there's ways to connect in with the team to make sure, because the Northern Territory, I don't know the last time that, and I encourage everyone, and those on the first workshop would have known there was a lot of encouragement to jump onto the NTB website and have a look at their supplier page and see if you can fit in on their supplier page. So putting forward what your capacity is like, Gary, and just, you know, a bit of a bio about your company, your unique selling points, Because that can help them identify, you know, especially in any conference where there's a historical element to it, you know, you've got that in folds, like,
Sure.
yeah. So definitely put yourself forward in that space. I feel like we've got a question online. Rob, is that you coming in? No,
His audio just.
popped out. Awesome. But that's great. We've had some great questions coming around in the room. Are there any questions coming through online? And this is, you know, really this world of product development, and I'll keep harping on collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. If you're finding that there's something that's not working in there, because you might have a great tour experience, but you may not be able to get to the venue to showcase. So for you guys, and this is a great example if I use Catherine Outback experience as an example, that's a touring experience. Often they found that the event wasn't traveling all the way down to Catherine because of time constraints. So they developed an experience to work in with the NTBE team, bringing their horses and their dogs up to Darwin, and then they would showcase at certain venues what they can offer, which then in turn put Catherine on the map, because people got a taste of what they could do, and people then wanted to extend their travel and head down to Catherine.
While you're
And
on
that-
Catherine,
Yes.
Hassan has asked how many business events happen in Catherine. Just want to see what the market looks like.
I'd have to have a look and, yeah, I wouldn't know
Yeah.
from the top of my head.
We would have to confirm that one for you, Hassan. We can double check in with the team and see how many have come down to Catherine. Look, the weight of business events coming down to Catherine is probably not as high as your Darwin, Alice Springs and Uluru. But yeah, Rosie and I can definitely check in with the team that does that data and research and let you know. We can send you an email after and identify what comes down into the Catherine region. Great question. Sorry, we're unable to answer that one at this stage. Any more questions? And
Oh, thanks.
no, amazing. So what are the next steps in order to help you get to this next stage? So I'll once again circulate those checklists, your unique selling points, complete that checklist. If you've identified that, yes, because this is a clear outcome that we want from today, you do belong in this business event space. Amazing. Get in contact with myself. My email address is covered on the screen, but I will circulate it after, and I have my cards for the people in the room. Send through your expression of interest for us to work together. We will be doing this on a case-by-case scenario to see who we want to work with. But you know, you may decide that you may not want the one-on-one, but you do want to come to the collaboration workshop and figure out how to work with people on itineraries there. I know we also have some local, what they're called destination management companies. I know VIP NT is very keen on developing itineraries and working with everybody. So I'm sure Rowdy's really happy, who runs VIP NT, happy for me to pass on his details so you can connect in with him, because he's working with a lot of conference organisers on showcasing really beautiful products in the territory. And then, yeah, if we have that one-on-one, we can work on your tailored one-on-one approach. If you feel that's not needed, brilliant, then connect in direct then with the team at NTBE and work with them on having your product listed and seeing where you can work with the business events that are coming to town. So yeah, I'll be sharing a whole bunch of stuff, that SWOT analysis, some data, the checklists and the rate sheets. So there was a lot of information there. I hope you guys took a lot of value out of that. Any questions, please still feel free to send it through. But yeah, the next workshop we'll be running is on pre and post touring, and then hopefully we'll run that in conjunction with collaborations. So thank you so much for all your time, and we truly hope to see you at the workshop when we run it next month. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.